Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. You know, being a part of this booktube community, we are all just super obsessed with our TBRs. You know, we make seasonal TBRs, monthly TBRs, reading challenge TBRs, TBR. And if you don't know what TBR means, it just means to be read. So it's all about the books that I want to read. But what about the darling books that I've already read that I loved, that now are just sitting on my shelf like a trophy that's there to collect dust? And it's so sad. So I'm gonna start this series. It should take about a week, maybe 2 weeks, where we go through all of my shelves of my favorite books. So I am very much the type that unhauls books if they are under 3 stars. So if I do not like the book, it leaves. And if I just thought it was like alright, it leaves. I'm very, very harsh in what I keep. But any 4 or 5 stars always get kept. And books that I could see myself rereading or recommending, although it's kind of less and less on the recommending novels, because yes, I might recommend it to you, but I don't need the physical books just to be like, hey, this is the cover, when I can just copy and paste the pictures for editing Alita. So chances are there aren't any on here that I need to unhaul, but I think we're just gonna start with classics. My classic shelf is definitely one of my smallest shelves because I don't read a lot of classics, and when I do, I like classics, don't get me wrong, I like them, but a lot of the time when I read classic literature, like, they talk a lot differently than we talk now, and I don't always, like, my brain, even though I can compute it, I just don't, it's not something that I could see myself rereading because I don't want to have to compute that kind of language. Let's talk about my favorite classics. So I actually have 2 copies of Lord of the Flies. I believe, I don't remember. Hold on. Okay. I bought Lord of the Flies a long time ago because I read it. I've read it several times in my life. It's like very disturbing. It's this survival story of these boys that are in a plane crash and they're on this island, and it's like survival of the fittest. It's really gruesome, and I don't know why I enjoyed this book. But for Christmas 3 years ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I want to say, my brother-in-law, Ben, bought me Lord of the Flies by William Golding. He got me a different edition, and if I truly like a book, then I have no problem having 2 or 7 or 9 or 100. I'm just kidding. I don't have 100 versions of a certain book, but I see no problem in having different versions of the same book if I really love that book. Yes, the inside is the same, but I don't like mass get paperbacks, generally speaking. So I definitely prefer the one that my brother bought for me. But now I just have 2. Alright, and then that same year that my brother-in-law bought me Lord of the Flies, he also got me The Road by Cormac McCarthy. And at the time, I hadn't read this, but he had read it and watched the movie and said that I would love it. And I was like, okay. Because it's like this apocalypse. Post-apocalypse, but you're kind of at the tail end of this apocalypse that never really gets explained to you. And I have found that I love books where you have no idea what's going on, especially when it's like a horror novel. And this is most definitely an apocalypse horror. And you follow a father and his son as they walk. They quite literally just walk. And they are trying to go to the beach, because I think that there's supposed to be a refuge at the beach. There's so much stuff that is not explained in this book. So if you need your books to be tied up in a pretty little bow, you will absolutely hate this book. And I don't think, I know I shelved it with classics. I think it's listed as a modern classic now, but I don't think that it's like, I don't remember. See, 2006, first edition. So I don't know if 2006 novels can be classified as classics, but I know that everyone, like the community, kind of thinks of this as a modern classic. I can't really tell you anything else about this book. I do highly recommend the audiobook, because this will bum some people out that there's no quotation marks. None. And that was a little bit hard for me at first, but I got the audiobook after, or while I was reading it, and that helped me read it faster. Not that you need to read this very fast. Like, I liked just sitting with it. I definitely cried, especially towards the end of this book. So if you want an emotional apocalypse where you get zero answers, The Road by Cormac McCarthy is for you. I think I'm actually going to move this over to my horror section, though, not my classics. Alright, our next book is, again, the same book, but 2 editions. So there's Charlotte's Web by E.B. White, and I got this one for my classroom. Maybe I'll just bring back to school. And this one is one that I bought after I read Charlotte's Web. I can't believe that I didn't read Charlotte's Web until 2024. What? I sat down. I mean, it's a very small book. I sat down and read it all at once. But it's Charlotte is a spider. And Wilbur is the pig. And they become friends, and it's like this classic story of friendship, and there's talking animals, and it's just so heartwarming. I cried during this too. Like, you'll sense a theme. Then I have the collected poems of Emily Dickinson and selected poems of Emily Dickinson. Honestly, this one's just so pretty that, like, I had to get it. And this one is just, they're just Emily Dickinson poetry. One of my college professors once compared me to Emily Dickinson, and that was like the highest compliment I could have gotten at the time, back when I was a writer. I kind of want to get back into writing, but that's neither here nor there. We can talk about that later, maybe. I finally read Kindred by Octavia E. Butler. Honestly, I was not expecting to like it because there's like time travel-y things. This came out in 1979. But this is listed as sci-fi horror, and oh my god, it's so good. So you follow Dana, who is a black woman living in America in the 70s or 80s, I think 70s. And then something happens on her 26th birthday, where she's basically like orbs or just like boosh is pulled to the 1800s when in the Deep South when they used slaves. And she's pulled to this time where everyone hates people based on their skin color. And that because she's a woman, she's seen as property, but because she's a colored woman, she's seen as property because colored people were property. Ugh, that just makes my skin crawl. I hate it. But Dana got pulled to this really bad time for colored people and for women, and she saved a baby from drowning. And then like things happen while she's there, and then she comes back to the present, which is like the 70s, and she's just like, no, that was horrible, I can't believe that. And then she goes back, but she can't control it. So I have really learned that I love books that have something that is never explained. Like, the time travel is never explained in here. It's just she starts like boo, and then she's gone. And then she comes back and only a day or two has passed in real life. But in the 1800s, she was there for a long time. And she had to survive this plantation. And oh my god, it was awful. It was sickening. It was disturbing. And that is exactly what a horror novel is supposed to be.
In the 70s timeline, there was also talk of her mental health.
So this is going to be on my favorites of 2025 list. Then I actually had my other brother-in-law, George, pick a book at Barnes and Noble one day. I was doing the buy one, get one half off, but I didn't have anything I wanted for the half off book. So he picked The Phantom Toolbooth by Norton Juster. He's talked about this previously, and I was like, I don't know, it's a children's novel. I'm not really a big children's book reader, except for like picture books during read-alouds. I feel like that's different. But just for my free time, holds up The Phantom Toolbooth, which, by the way, perfection. This, oh my god, there's a dog named Talk who ticks. For Milo is this kid that I don't remember how, but he goes to the Phantom Toolbooth. He gets thrown into this world that has the Sea of Knowledge, the Foothills of Confusion, Conclusions, Mountain of Ignorance, Valley of Sounds, and expectations and oh my god, just everything that I want in this as an educator. Like, I think children should all read this. But I absolutely love this book. It was such a fun adventure, very much a breath of fresh air compared to the harsh things that I read. I read a lot of stuff that makes you cry. I read a lot of horror novels that are terrifying. This just was fun. Then I have Emily Dickinson envelope poems. It's literally just envelopes, and then that's that envelope but scanned so you can read it better. Then within the past 2 years, I want to say in 2024, I read 1984 by George Orwell, and oh my gosh, Big Brother is watching. It was terrifying how like closely linked the political atmosphere of America is to George Orwell's 1984. I also read Animal Farm by George Orwell, and I'm gonna tell you, although I enjoyed this one because you follow the animals at a farm, animal farm, and they can all talk, and it's kind of like an overturn on the way that they've been treated by the farmer, and they kind of want to get back at him. And like, it was kind of a fun, goofy time. I definitely preferred 1984. This one, if it fell off my bookshelf, would not be the worst thing. I mean, I gave it 4 stars. I still very much so enjoyed it. I just don't know if I would ever reread it, as opposed to 1984 that I would reread. Then the same year that my brother-in-law got me Lord of the Flies, he thinks it's my favorite book. I do very much enjoy Lord of the Flies, but it's not my all-time favorite book, but that's okay. I'm digressing. But that same year, he got me Of Mice and Men by John Steinbeck. This is his favorite book. And I had already read it before, but I read it again a couple years ago, and it just cemented how amazing of a book this is, especially that ending. If you've ever read it, then you know. But this follows George and Lenny. Lenny is like a gentle giant, like he's a big giant. And George is his best friend. And it's during the Great Depression when work was hard to find. And they both were traveling together, and they found like this farm to work on, but then some travesty happens regarding one of them, and then that means that both of them need to make a choice, and I don't know if they made the correct choice, because it hurt my heart so much. And I tried to block out the ending because I had read this several years ago when I was in high school, I think. And I had never thought about it again. And then I reread it a couple of years ago, 2024, I believe. Because that's when I was gifted this. And it hurt. It hurt a lot, that ending. I don't know how I could forget that ending. That was terrible. And it hurt my heart. And I understand why it's my brother-in-law's favorite book. Then my other brother-in-law gifted me To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. The same year that my other brother-in-law gifted me those other books that we've already talked about. he said To Kill a Mockingbird was his favorite book. And I had asked everyone to buy me a copy of their favorite book. And that year I was going to read it. So I did read it relatively soon after getting this, I think in January of the following year. And I don't know who Alita was before she read this book, because this book changed me. Like Scout, oh my god, Scout. Oh, I love her. This follows this little girl named Scout, who her dad is defending a black man in court. And everyone is like, well, you can't defend blacks, because in the time that was not a thing. That was very much frowned upon. So there's that court case going on with her dad and this man. But more than that, like, Scout just doesn't understand all the hate in the world. She's like, I don't get why people are so mean. Like, why do you judge them just based on their color? Like, and oh my god, I love her. Like, if you have not read To Kill a Mockingbird, please do. This book actually made me cry. I mean, that's not a surprise. Everything makes me cry. But I liked that book so much, I had to get this other edition, and this is the 60th year edition, so I would gladly accept more editions of this book. And then I have Farenhit 451 by Ray Bradbury. Oh my god, this is a dystopian, like the OG dystopian. I don't think it's the OG dystopian, but it might be. This follows a fireman whose job it is to burn books. Like, burn them. And he's living in a world where books are, like, bad. You're not allowed to read them. And if you read them and you get caught, you get killed. Right? I don't know. It's a crime. I think they kill you. She may be little, but she mighty. Like, if you've never, oh my god, Farenhit 451. But oh my god, this is so good. It's like dystopian, and it just, I can't fathom a world where this could be true. And Ray Bradbury for thinking this up. Whew. And then a few years ago, I bought a really, really beautiful edition of all 7 of Jane Austen's finished novels. And I read most of them. But there was one that stood out above the rest. This is Northanger Abbey, and I have since gifted my really beautiful edition of the Jane Austen books to someone else. But this one, I needed a copy because, I mean, look, first off, it's just beautiful, for one. But for two, this is just by far Jane Austen's best book. So that is my classic shelf. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to smash that like button. Subscribe to me down below. And yes, I did just hit myself in the face. I hit my glasses. That was embarrassing. Pretend you didn't see that. But if you would like to let me know what your favorite classic is in the comments below, I would love that. Or just your favorite book of all time. And I would love to read that book or those books. Let me know in the comments if you've read any of these books. and what your thoughts are. Clearly, I'm a diehard fan of all of them so far. I mean, I've read them all. So, yes, I'm a diehard fan of all of them. And let me know which classics I should read next. I don't have any on my shelf currently. That doesn't mean that there's none on my TBR, though. It's just not my physical TBR. And if you don't feel chatty, then just leave me a heart.